Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group. What I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have the Hummer EV 3X SUV. So we'll look at the interior, some of the exterior, the cool features on this vehicle, and see what it's like out on the road. Okay, so now we're behind the wheel of the Hummer EV SUV, and like I said, this is the 3X trim. So there's a few different trim levels. There's the pickup, obviously, and then the SUV. This one has a little bit shorter of a wheelbase when compared to the pickup, but overall, a lot of the stuff inside is going to be the same. So let's put it in drive. We'll go for a spin around. Now, this is one I've kind of been looking forward to getting behind the wheel of. You saw about it for years that they were going to bring back the Hummer EV, and there was a lot of excitement around it. Some people think it's silly, some people think it's pretty cool. I think I fall into the latter category. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Now, we have to talk about the price, because the starting price for the 2X, which is kind of the base trim, is going to come in around $79,000 for an MSRP. Now, this one is going to be pretty well loaded up. So the 3X, this one also has the upgraded off-road package, so we're going to be looking closer to about $115,000. Yes, it's a lot of money, but this is a luxury SUV, and that's very apparent when you get inside. Now, I've got my phone on the wireless charging pad down here, and I've actually got it connected to the wireless Apple CarPlay. You can also do wireless Android Auto, and it makes it very straightforward and simple. You've got the 13.4-inch display, Google Maps, Spotify, text messaging, all that stuff's going to be built in. And then on the right side of the screen, you can also have your trailer settings, you can have your audio settings, your charge level stuff over there. So it's a pretty cool infotainment screen, and there's a ton of stuff in here that you can set up, whether it's your off-road modes, your CarPlay, your radio, your trailering stuff. There's so much built into that screen that it makes it really easy and safe when you're on the go. Now, speaking of safety, obviously, like all other GMCs, this has a ton of safety built in. Plus, the 3X models are going to come standard with Super Cruise. So that's something like 400,000 road miles are mapped out, and it's basically going to be like a hands-free driving. Now, it also will have an adaptive cruise control with a driver assist program. So this is telling me it can see the van in front of me. You can set the distance for 3, 2, or 1, and it will keep that distance on the highway. It's got blind spot monitoring. The backup camera in here is one of the coolest ones I've ever seen. You can see underneath the vehicle, side to side, the back. I mean, there's like 50 different ways you can look through that camera, so it does make it very safe and convenient if you're out on the trail or if you're just trying to park at that busy grocery store. Now let's talk about parking, because obviously this is a huge SUV. But visibility isn't bad. The visibility out of the front, you can see where the bumper goes. The mirrors on the side are pretty large, and like I said, with the blind spot monitoring, but just the pure size of it, it's not that scary to me to drive. It doesn't feel any different than getting into a Sierra 1500 or maybe a 2500, except for the fact that it's dead silent in here. It's super quiet, and you have a ton of power on tap at pretty much any given time. Now, the 3X, like I said, gets the tri-motor. So what that means is this one gets 830 horsepower and 11,500 foot-pounds of torque. So it's something like 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. So if you put your foot down, you are off and moving. But what's I thought to be something that would be very scary is slowing down. But the brakes can be applied immediately. There's even a little controller right here behind the steering wheel, which basically turns it into one-pedal driving. So if you hold that, you can tell the vehicle immediately slows down, and that will actually help regen some as well. So the seats in the vehicle, really comfortable. It again feels just like a regular GMC. These are going to be heated as well as ventilated for the driver and the passenger, and now my second row is also going to get heated seats. So speaking of that second row, there's a lot of usability back there. I'm at 6'1", where I was driving comfortably. I have knee room, I have tons of headroom back there, and these infinity tops that are actually removable make it really spacious inside. So these tops you can actually take off, so it's like having a convertible SUV or pickup truck. So that's a pretty cool feature. It's like 9 in the morning here, and it's about 85 degrees already. So I've got my ventilated seat on, and I do not have the tops off, but I could see it on a nice cool night. Cruising the lakes would be pretty fun. So usability then out of the SUV. Now this will have the power rear hatch. So you simply tap the button or on the key fob and it will swing open. And what's cool, this also has air suspension. So if it seems like the loading height is pretty high, you can actually lower it down to an entry and exit mode. So that will drop that down so you can load stuff into the back. I did find it to be a little bit higher, but there's also a front or frunk trunk storage area. So again, on the key fob, you can just hold that, it pops open, and it's another convenient loading and storage space. And then there's a roof rack up above. Just when you think a Hummer can't get any bigger or more usable, you can put the ski box up there, you can put the kayaks up there. Yes, you might have to jump a little bit to get exactly all the way up to the roof, but there is a lot of usability and storage in here. Now let's talk about our digital gauge cluster here. So everything is controlled right through the steering wheel. So you can use the right side here on the wheel, and that's gonna go things like your driver assistance, your music, that gives you the compass and some of your phone call stuff in there. And you can fully configure the gauge cluster to the way you want it to look. So that's pretty cool. Now, a few other things in here with the steering wheel, that's where your adaptive cruise can be set and your super cruise, as well as a heated steering wheel. So you notice the lights on the top here for the super cruise, and then the wheel itself will get heated. So when those Minnesota winters come around, you are gonna be nice and happy and toasty inside. But a few other things, there's a pretty large storage area because it frees up all that space without having a transmission tunnel. So what's cool, if you're bringing your purse or any bags or any extra storage you need, you can just throw it underneath here. But like I said, storage isn't really an issue in the Hummer just because it is pretty huge and there is a lot of space to keep stuff. There's also plug-ins all over. There's USB plugs up here. There's a standard household outlet in the second row as well as in the back of the vehicle. So if you're out camping, you can keep stuff charged up. There's just a lot of cool usability out of this. So let's touch on the battery for a second. So this is a 170 kilowatt hour battery. What that means is real world, I would guess if you're charging from about 10 to 90% on a level 2 charger, you'd be maybe looking at around 120 minutes or so. But with some of the fast charging, that can obviously be increased, or if you're just plugging it at home overnight, it's not gonna be an issue. There's a total range on the tri-motor of about 298 miles. I think with the off-road package, it does dip a little bit to maybe about 55 mpge in the city, but yes, it's a huge vehicle. Yes, it's really fun on the road, and it's extremely capable off-road as well. That's certainly something I wish we could test out, because I'm sure once you put it into that crawl mode or use some of these cool terrain modes that are in here, you could have a lot of fun off-road. But I mean, overall, using this as a day-to-day vehicle is absolutely something I could get behind. You can park it. It's got rear steering, so it does help you out, and it's actually pretty insane how tight the turning radius can be with the rear wheel steering. There's a lot of creature comforts in here. The wireless Apple CarPlay, the AC was ice cold when I hopped in today, so it's just like driving a regular EV, except for you're in a Hummer. It is a big vehicle, but yes, you can see out of it. Yes, it has a ton of creature comforts and luxury inside, and I think, especially in this color, it does look really pretty cool on the exterior. So if you've been thinking about maybe switching EV and you want to keep an SUV, and you definitely want something that's maybe not as polarizing as a Cybertruck, but gives you a lot of creature comfort and usability, I think the Hummer EV to definitely add to your list to come out, take for a spin, and see what you think. So that was just a quick look and drive in the new Hummer EV. Now, if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive for yourself, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by either one of our GMC locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.